Next, please. Welcome to the Asteroid Apocalypse Coalition. How can I assist you today? Are you interested in donating supplies for the off-world space stations? Okay, are you interested in booking a flight? You're here to get off planet? Okay. Now, do you have a flight currently booked? No? Okay, do you have clearance to leave and are looking to book a flight? Right, do you have pre-flight clearance tickets? No? Okay, so let's see. Gotta pull up a different page here. Are you here to see if you are eligible for one of the limited number of spaces available on the exit sanctuary station? You are. Okay. Let's just pull that up then. Let's see. Okay, so are you specifically looking to go to the export sanctuary station? Or do you have pre-arrangements with another planet, someone relative perhaps who lives on another planet or space station, and you're just trying to get off planet at the moment? You're interested in applying for a space on the sanctuary station? Okay. Are you interested in trying to find a place on your own at another space station or planet, or do you really want a place on the space station? You really have no idea where you'd go other than the space station? Okay. Well, we have two options. We can either offer you a room, a temporary room, on the sanctuary station, or we can offer you a place on the moon. If accepted, not saying you're accepted yet, but if you are accepted, do you have a preference for which station you'd like to be on? The moon base station or the export sanctuary station? Export sanctuary if possible? Okay. And would you accept a place on moon base station if the export sanctuary station is not available? You would. Okay, so basically just anything to get off planet? Okay. Let's just pull up the program then to see if you're eligible and, what you would bring to that. So, let's see now. Okay. Are you able to transport yourself to the nearest mobilization point on Earth if you are accepted? Correct. The nearest point where everyone will be gathering to board a transport to take them to either the moon base station or the export sanctuary station. You are. So you have your own transportation. Okay, great. And what is your current address? Okay, so the nearest point would be, let's see, Terrapin Station would be the nearest point. Is that something that you're able to make it to in quite a hurry, should you be called up? Okay. Do you currently have a government-issued ID? Yeah, so that could be anything like a driver's license or a passport, a military ID, or even a student ID would be accepted if you are at an accredited university. It does have to be a photo ID, so at this time we cannot accept SS cards or birth certificates, things like that. We do need a photo ID to verify your identification if you are selected to board one of the transports. You do. Okay. And what would that be? Driver's license? Okay. Now, do you currently have any family here on Earth? You do? Okay. And whom do they consist of? Right, what is your relationship? Are these children, parents, spouses, extended family like cousins and things like that? Okay. And how many members of your immediate family do you have? So spouses, children, pets. Okay. Are you interested in booking passage for your entire immediate family or just for yourself? Okay. Let's see. What is your current occupation? Video game designer? Okay, I'm not really sure how that's going to come in handy, but we'll take down all the information anyway. Do you have a background in military by any chance? No. Okay. Security? No. Okay. Emergency services background? No to that as well. Okay. Do you have any engineering experience, specifically chemical or mechanical engineering? Yes, we find them very useful to preserve the human race on the space station and the moon base. But no, you don't have any experience in that either. Okay. Do you have any medical experience? Doctor, nurse, emergency room technician, anything like that? No? Okay. Any water purification technician experience? I know a lot of people do that as extracurricular for college. No, you never did that either? Okay. Do you have any background in science at all? No? Okay. Agricultural or botanical knowledge? No? Okay, so you strictly are just an expert in your field and little else, it sounds like. Not judging, just making a point. Do you have any camping or deep survival techniques? Any experience in that? Not really? Okay. Any talents that you have that might be useful to a new colony, you know, just anything that makes you special and valuable to the community that will be trying to save the human race. Yeah, just list your talents. I'm not going to tell you whether they're useful or not, but, let me know what your talents are, and the government will decide whether they're useful for the temporary colony, okay? Okay, so, obviously art design, yes. Okay. Okay. Anything else that you can think of that would make you useful to a temporary colony or a space station or moon base? No? Okay, let's see. Any chronic or life-threatening medical conditions that require regular treatment or care? No? Okay, that's a plus. Any medications that you require that might not be available once you leave Earth? Not that you can think of. Any medical conditions, past or present? We will be verifying this with your medical records. Honesty is one of the things that we're looking for in all of the candidates, so. You broke your leg when you were 12, but other than that, no problems? Okay. Any residual effects from that broken leg? No? You're able to run around and everything just fine? Okay. Have you ever been in zero gravity before? Sometimes that can affect limbs that were previously broken. You might not realize it here on Earth, but once you get into zero gravity, it can be a different story. You did vacation on Moonbase a few years ago? Okay. No issues at all? Okay. What is your general physical fitness level? We always want to assess everyone's potential for physical labor. Yes, there are quite a few chores on both the Sanctuary Space Station and the Moon Base Station. Anyone who boards passage off of Earth will be expected to do their part to keep everything flowing smoothly and ensure the continuation of the human race. So, what would you say your current physical fitness level is? Okay. And how do you feel about cramped conditions? Because all the apartments in both stations are quite small, and you'll be living in very cramped quarters, transporting in cramped quarters, and some people, have claustrophobia, which really doesn't work that well for them in such situations. Okay. Are you able to pass a psychic evaluation for long-term confinement in a high-stress environment? Yes, if your application is accepted, you will be required to pass one of those, We just want to test to make sure that no one's going to become violent or prone to panic or things like that. Any kind of mental breakdowns that might be induced by the high-stress, confined environment. I'm sure you read about the biosphere and how, people didn't do so well living in there for too long, so kind of the conditions that you'll be experiencing. So we have to make sure that everyone is both physically and mentally able to deal with that. So you will be required to pass that exam before you're given passage on a transport, but we like to know, do you think you'd be able to successfully pass one of those? Okay. And are you able to cope with isolation? Certain jobs on the stations will require you to work very long hours by yourself, and not everyone can mentally handle that. You tend to do that anyway? Okay. Do you have a violent criminal background? Once again, please be honest because we will be checking this. Okay. Any criminal background at all? Okay. Have you ever been arrested even if you weren't charged? Okay. Any kind of altercations at all? Getting rowdy at a public place, anything like that? Okay. And what is your current age? Again, we will be using your government-issued ID to verify this, so there's no point in fudging on the age. Okay. And what is your reproductive status? Bit of a personal question, but obviously once the dust settles from the asteroid, you are going to be expected to help repopulate the Earth. So obviously not everyone that will be taking will be expected to do that. Some of the older members of society will be taken for their wisdom and status, things like that. But in general, we like to have a healthy amount of people who will be able to repopulate the Earth with the next generation of humanity. So, what is your current reproductive status? Okay. Do you get space sick or seasick? Because if you get seasick, you're probably likely to get space sick. Okay. And what is your current income level? Why do we ask that? Well, obviously, the higher your income, the more you can afford to pay for priority quarters. It's not fair, but that is just the way it is. So, what is your current income level? Okay, so definitely not a priority quarters level. Do you own your own vehicle or spacesuit? Space vehicle, yes. Any kind of shuttle or planet hop or anything like that? No. Okay. Are you able to provide your own oxygen? Nope. Okay. Are you able to provide any seeds for any new colonies after the aftermath? No. Okay. Any foodstuffs that you currently have that you could bring with you, which will of course be shared with the entire community? And that's also an important question. Do you have any reservations about sharing all of your possessions and food and things like that with the community? It's important to know because for the greater good and the continuation of the human race, we will have to be sharing everything while we are waiting for the dust to settle when we can finally repopulate Earth, which is something that our generation may not get to do. Just to warn you ahead of time, it might be your children or grandchildren who are able to repopulate the Earth, but we want to make sure that everyone is okay with sharing in the community. We need everyone to be a team player if they're going to get passage off of this planet before the big rock hits. Okay. Any precious historical artifacts that would be of human value that might want to be preserved or anything like that? Something that would be like museum quality that the officials might decide is worth keeping in one of the vaults on the stations to ensure humanity's collected history is preserved as well as the human race itself? No? Okay. And how is your work ethic? How many jobs have you had in the last few years? Okay. And have you ever been reprimanded at a job that you work at? Okay. Have you ever been promoted at a job that you work at? Okay. Are you able to provide references if accepted? Okay. So in your own words, tell me why you think you deserve a place on one of the stations. Why do you deserve passage off of Earth before the rock hits? Okay. Yeah, I'm taking it down verbatim. Everything you say will get placed on the application, and then we'll run it and see if you're accepted and eligible for a place, okay? So this is your chance to tell people why you'd make a great addition to the station. Is that it? Okay, well, let's go ahead and run the application. See what it says here. Obviously, there's not room for everyone, so unfortunately, some people will have to stay behind and watch the asteroid come hurtling toward Earth, but I suppose it'll be kind of an interesting view when that happens. But, we're going to take anyone who seems to have good value for the continuation of the human race. So, yeah. Let's see here now. Coming up, let's see. Okay, so I'm sorry, but it looks like that you are not selected for transport off of the planet. So you will have to remain on Earth until the asteroid hits. One of your alternative options is that you can apply at a different station. If you run home and start practicing a few things and hone some skills that might make you more valuable to the community that's trying to save the human race. And then you can apply at a different station. You cannot reapply at this particular station because we have already run your application here, so you'll have to go to another station. And again, I would suggest that you get some new skills before you go apply there. The other option is to disguise yourself as one of the shuttle technicians and sneak on board. You'll just kind of have to spend the rest of your life under a fake identity and hope you don't get caught. Don't recommend that, but it is a way to get off Earth. Otherwise, your third option is to pull up a lawn chair, make a bowl of popcorn, and watch the giant rock come hurtling toward you, okay? So those are your three options. I suggest you go home and weigh them. Sorry that you weren't eligible for passage off now, but maybe you will be in the next few days. In the meantime, thank you for coming in and trying to book passage. And if you make it off the planet, maybe I'll see you at a space station. And if not, enjoy the next few days of your life, okay? Yes, I'm paid to be friendly no matter what the circumstances are. I'll get fired if I'm not, unfortunately. So have a lovely rest of your day.